summer of Nicolas Cage over. Gotta find some movie where he had a minor role in so I can keep the joke going. Alright. Kids movie, kids movie, kids movie, kids movie, kids movie, kids movie. Marvel. Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. So, Deep Blue Sea 3? Released straight to video in 2020, though to be fair, that year most movies weren't released theatrically. Deep Blue Sea 3 is, you guessed it, the third movie in the Deep Blue Sea franchise. Which wasn't really a franchise until the sequel came out in 2018, 19 years after the original, so it's less of a long-running series and more a couple of straight-to-video horror movies that are wearing the skin of the original as a mask, like a certain psycho killer. Nevertheless, Deep Blue Sea 3 does follow the plot set forth in the previous installments, that being that, like the first movie, weird experiments on sharks resulted in super intelligent sharks out to kill people. And like the second movie, they're bull sharks because mako sharks are just too damn cute. Although in that movie they also tried to convince us that the real horror was baby sharks. So they weren't wrong, but nevertheless, let's take a look at Deep Blue Sea 3 so I can finally stop complaining about Deep Blue Sea 2. The story opens in the Deep Blue Sea 3. Sharks are seen swimming onward to a poor, unsuspecting island. Can't be that important, though, as we suddenly shift over to our protagonist for this tale of oceanic terror, Emma Collins, played by Tanya Raymond. She's blogging about the terrors of climate change and rising sea levels.
800 people used to live on this tiny man-made island. Now there are only 2 left.
Wait a minute. If this island is man-made, wouldn't that mean that they just kind of fucked up building it? I mean, climate change is a thing, rising sea levels exist, but I mean, if in Miami we've got like 1 or 2 inches of increased sea level, and in the meantime, this particular island is doing its greatest impression of Atlantis. Alternate explanations exist, I'm just saying. But hey, it's not all bad. I mean, doom and gloom for coastal cities, but forget that for now. We're filming in a goddamn coral reef with a fish nursery.
It's home to one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet.
Location scouts, the unsung heroes of the straight-to-video horror sequel. Her voiceover, via the magical underwater radio comms that don't actually work like that, explain that they also have another magical piece of technology called Triton that lets them identify and track all kinds of oceanic life. Never mind that, though. She still has to tell us more about what atmospheric CO2 does to your oceans.
Resulting in warmer water temperatures, rising sea levels, food source loss, ocean acidification, and species extinction.
We aren't even 5 minutes in. They're probably like, okay guys, people are probably going to turn this movie off before it's over, so let's get all the important stuff out of the way as soon as possible. Not for the plot now. I mean, you think any of this shit matters? It's a shark movie. Her handy-dandy cameraman, Shaw, played by Emerson Brooks, is a bit taken aback by the high shark population. But Emma says, don't worry, this isn't some mindless killer. No, that's a filthy myth perpetuated by Hollywood fools who don't know just how cute and cuddly they really are. This is Sally, her shark friend. Which is just what the sharks want you to think! But now she's been cut, so best get the hell out of here before your cute and cuddly ocean friends fucking eat you. Naturally, Shaw thinks Emma's being too careless, but she'd rather dump more exposition about how her father was his commanding officer, and that means that she would rather just throw caution to the wind, or something like that. Anyway, we gotta introduce more characters. Out at sea, another group is hunting sharks. Specific sharks. Escaped sharks. That'd be Richard Lowell, played by Nathaniel Buzzlick, and Lucas, played by Bren Foster. As well as the underlings, or miscellaneous goons, however you want to think about it. Seems they've found the mama shark they were after as she got caught in a net. However, there are 3, as of yet unaccounted for, baby sharks that are still at large. But where could they be?
Ella was a good mother. She was taking her kids to the best all-you-can-eat buffet in town.
I didn't think bull sharks were allowed at Golden Corral. Back on the sinking island, we have more characters to introduce. Our techie geek who has opinions about Windows 11 but refuses to upgrade from Windows XP, Spin, played by Alex Bott, and Mia, the Triton tech wizard, played by Reina Aoi. With her scientific superpowers, she shows her that, yep, shark population is tanking.
No, it can't be right. Must be a glitch.
Well, you just spent the last 5 minutes of the movie telling us this is exactly what the fuck is going on, so what, you didn't even believe that? She figures they gotta set up some more monitors, but in the meantime, let's introduce the last two civilians populating this little island. Bahari, played by Sia Mayola, and Nandi, played by Avumile Kongo. She thinks, you know what, we live out in the most bumfuck of all bumfuck nowheres, there's fuck all to do, and oh yeah, our house is sinking more by the day. Maybe it's time to move, but Bahari is like, nah, it's a nice neighborhood, and they have their scientist friends to invite over a happy, happy dinner. What reason would they possibly have to leave? I mean, there's bad CGI sharks, but I don't know, I kind of like that movie. Real quick, let's also establish this trash compactor before our island dwellers notice that strange boat on the horizon. Not one of the normally scheduled ones, that's because, of course, it's Richard's boat. But what's this?
Hey. How you doing?
It appears that Richard and Emma had some sort of relationship in the past. Honestly, it's the most horrifying thing that's happened so far. No surprise, this is where they tracked all the 3 bull sharks too. I mean, only so many sets in this movie to choose from and all. Richard isn't telling them the full story though, just that they happen to have a little teensy issue with these sharks, kinda dangerous, ate a bunch of people up a river, gotta catch them, all that jazz.
Sharks don't exhibit that kind of behavior unless they're stressed or hungry.
So remember kids, sharks aren't gonna eat you. Unless they're hungry. Or pissed off. But they're not killers, that is a filthy Hollywood lie. They'll just maybe eat you, but it's totally not because they wanted to. It's just, you look very seal-like, you know? Also, they cooperate on the hunt, swim in fresh or salt water, just generally are some real bad sharks to come across. But oh look, Triton says no bulls, so no bulls. Better luck next sinking island built on a reef nursery. They still want to dive around and check the place out, but first, Emma wants to know what he's been working on. So, inviting her aboard for the 5-cent tour, they get right to the heart of the matter.
Hey, you ever think about us?
Sure, sometimes.
What do you think about?
I can see why she's so calm around sharks. She spent her life dealing with predators. It seems Richard has been digging around in Bella's shark brain, and he's also on the payroll of Genetics, which isn't the best news Emma's heard all day. He's one of those evil bastards who intends not to fight to prevent climate change, but to prepare to profit off it. He says she should stay out of the water, but she goes where she wants, so practically everyone gets their wetsuit on and prepares to investigate.
Mia, comm check.
I hear you loud and clear, Dr. Collins.
And there we go again. For the record, wireless communication doesn't really work underwater. And I mean, that's how a lot of movies with underwater scenes deal with it, because it's a lot easier to just exposit information to the audience that way and keep them engaged. But it's not just used for that in this. Wireless devices underwater are one of the main pillars holding the plot together. So fuck the shark science being way off. This movie can't even get the basic laws of physics right. They're down there to check on things and set up a few more sensors for the magical Triton superfish finder to work extra well. This gives us even more beautiful shots of the actors swimming around the reef. But Emma discovers some of her great whites have been killed and eaten. And she told you to go fuck yourself. You were in the room when she told you that. But what could have killed the great whites?
There is a bull in the field,
It's big.
moving fast.
Well, I mean, it was either that or the biggest goddamn chestburster we've ever seen. The bull isn't heading for Emma right now, though. It's heading for Richard's men. And they can't contact Brown! Is he alright? You could say he's half the man he used to be. So yeah, lost Brown, played by Rashad Mayweather, and some great whites. Kind of surprising to Emma, considering usually it's the whites eating the bulls, but Dick knows why.
My theory is that they're adapting to climate change faster than the whites.
They're evolving. Within their own lives. Think of it like Pokemon, only... No, just think of it like Pokemon. So, yeah, he says Genetics hired him to capture the sharks and study their brains, because, could make some decent pills or something. All Emma cares about is how destructive they will be if left to their devices, so she agrees to help him, if only to save the good, natural sharks from these evil mutant monster sharks. Shado doesn't trust the man, though, so Emma tells Spin to see if he can dig up the tracking history of the magical GPS beacon that Bella was tagged with. Enough jargon, and he should be able to pull it off. While this is going on, though, the plan is to use a drone to trim out some bait, track the bulls via the trident, and boom, catch him before the movie even reaches 40 minutes.
I want to know when your shark problem became our shark problem.
When a trio of fucking man-eaters decided to show up on your sinking island? What part of that sounds like, oh, not my department? No matter, they're all in this together. The cast is too damn small not to be. However, while the team goes underwater to hunt the bulls, Skip slips by the internet outhouse to go hacker man on the tracker man.
Shit.
Resulting in a shocking revelation. Everything they know is wrong! And he'll tell his boss later, maybe, if it comes up. More importantly, a bull has arrived, so they all jump into action. Richard tries to shoot it, but fails. Only Emma can make the shot, then dive in to save his ass. So Richard's not doing that great, but hey, they tranquilize the shark. Before we jump over to Spare character doing mundane tasks all alone. That's always a good sign in a horror movie. But what's this? His fishing line appears to be snagged. What could it be? Well, that just so happens to be his lucky hook. So only one thing to do, dive after it. And just want to point this out. Bahari was there when news of the man-eating killer sharks swarming around the cove just so happened to come in, so what the hell was he thinking, that the body count wasn't rising quite fast enough? The good news, though, is that they captured one of the bull sharks. Seems to be a male, and a juvenile, though it's fucking enormous for a juvenile bull, and it's maturing incredibly fast as well. The monster always matures faster in the sequels, you know that. So 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, but that's right, Bahari got eaten as well, so that's 2 humans down, 9 to go. I need something more, though. Some drama or something to keep things interesting.
Spin. Before, did you find anything? Remember that GPS beacon for Bella?
Oh, that's right, the incredibly mind-blowing information that totally turns the situation on its head. I was going to tell you, just slipped my mind. The shark's GPS tracker didn't originate up a river or anywhere remotely close. Seems to have come from a little ocean-based lab that sank in a previous movie. Easy mistake to make, I guess. Armed with this information, Emma demands answers from Richard. But before she can get any, the sharks attack, slamming into the boat, trying to get their brother back. They will surely sink, unless Richard threatens the hostage shark with a gun, I guess.
What just happened?
Oh, come on, this is Deep Blue Sea, remember? Besides, that's nothing compared to the wireless underwater communication you've been doing all movie. But Emma wants an exposition dump, and she wants it now! So Richard does his best to summarize the previous movies. They were working on Alzheimer's medicines harvested from Mako brains, but the brains are too small, so genetically engineer them to have bigger brains, and whoops, super smart sharks really fucked things up. So they tried again, but with bull sharks, and to straight up make people smarter so it's not too samey to the first movie. Still, the super smart sharks fucked shit up and destroyed the lab. Again. And a few escaped.
They've been trying to capture and kill them ever since. Explosive lures, poison, and never the same way twice.
Right, because they're learning.
Oh, it's because you gotta keep your movie interesting. That's why Jason Voorhees doesn't just murder people, he finds all kinds of ways to kill teenagers. Variety. She finds this whole plot line disgusting, but he has more tricks to show her. Remember that GPS beacon? Well, Bella's litter just so happened to learn its signal and react to it as if it were their mother.
I can't get close enough to catching them. They're too smart. But they're drawn to this frequency just the same.
So remember that little speech about how they can't use the same strategy twice? Well, forget it, because this is all they're going to be doing from here on out. So maybe he's a lying asshole who's been working for an evil corporation this whole time, but never mind that for now. There's still a slight problem of the 2 genetically modified sharks destroying the ecosystem and how they gotta catch them all if they don't want it to fuck up the entire ocean when they reproduce. But she isn't interested in Dick and his talk of reproduction anymore. He can fuck right off! And the whole world, I guess. Oh, well, Lucas has a plan. Take that handy-dandy beacon lore that he just learned about from Richard and take over the entire operation. Our heroes, however, intend to report this.
Spin?
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
Why?
The internet's down again. Basically everything that I live for.
Okay, did it actually go down, or did you spend a monthly bandwidth downloading catgirl pictures again? Emma must investigate, which means she must follow the wire into the water, which means she must rip her clothes off yet again. Thus, she finds the wire has been cut! Damn, the bad guys work quickly. While all this was going on, Lucas had his goons drill a mine into the seawall. That, combined with a handy shark lure beacon, he intends to use to cause a massive shockwave that will kill everything in the nursery. The sharks, the fish, the coral reef itself, and create a mini tsunami that will annihilate the remains of the pathetic island once and for all.
The only safe place for Miles would be their goddamn boat.
Using safe in a relative term here, it's still probably kind of rickety after the sharks nearly bashed through the hull earlier in the movie. First thing Emma does is ask Richard what the fuck he's doing setting mines that will murder everyone and everything! But of course it wasn't Richard's plan. It was Lucas all along, and he's got a gun and a plan. Same plan as before, murder everyone and everything.
Lucas, our orders didn't include blowing anything up or murdering anybody.
Well, you really think that they sent us here to develop drugs for slow kids?
It's a goddamn shark movie, mate. It's Deep Blue Sea 3. People are watching because they want to see sharks eating people and bikinis. And I intend to give them both. Surprise! The evil corporation is not benevolent, but evil. Thus, Lucas is siding with the winning team, opening fire on the hapless scientists and villagers, causing devastation to the set.
Lucas! What the hell are you doing?
In the meantime, Richard is just asking politely for him to stop. But Emma attacks! So the good guys actually start fighting back. Still outgunned and what have you, but Emma manages to slip out of Lucas's grasp, so Mia and Spin are trapped. Shaw is running around trying to help, and Emma is regrouping and planning what to do next. Gotta defuse that mine. So, first things first, find a new tight-fitting swimsuit to squeeze into, while Richard tries to negotiate with Lucas. Lucas isn't budging though, saying he can either get paid to fuck his fellow man, or join his little girlfriend to die.
I would rather die with her than live like you.
Ooh. Well, I guess they're not getting back together before the credits roll. Unless the shark eats her too, I guess. Now, the bad guys are on the boat, the sharks are in the water, and they could set the bomb off any time to just win, but...
Hey, neighbor.
It's still got like 30 minutes of movie left, so Lucas just teleports ashore, like a good horror movie villain. You can't have an action climax without a knockdown, drag-out fight now, so Lucas and Shaw do battle! All the while, Emma inches closer to the mine. And of course, Mia and Spin do their best to avoid the shark in the rising waters.
That was close.
Their best still not being particularly effective. But the climactic fight is kind of taking a while, and Lucas got shit to do, so he tags out for one of the miscellaneous underlings to take over for him. Earl's played by DeVille Vanek. That way, the movie can still go on after Shaw wins the fight. For being as ravenous and psychotic as they are, you gotta give the sharks props for their self-control. They've only ever been seen breaching the surface if it's guaranteed to up the body count. But how exactly is Mia doing? You could say she's been better. Anyway, back with mine. Emma's almost got it. But what's this? The last goon, Shill, played by Ernest St. Clair, attacks. But she makes him bleed, which as we all know is all you need for him to be horrifically eaten alive by our cuddly-wuddly great white that wouldn't hurt a fly. This means that Emma survives. But did she manage to successfully disarm the mine? No, she did something way cooler. Completely ignored all of those warnings about how the blast is going to cause a shockwave, there's be a mini tsunami and destroy a life and all of that stuff. But let's just assume that that was specifically if it was on the ocean wall, and 50 feet away is pretty much nothing. So the big bad is no more. But there is a slight problem. There's still those super sharks on the loose. And if they leave now, those things will certainly destroy the entire ocean. So the three of them are the only ones who can save the world. How? More of those handy-dandy magical wireless underwater video drones, of course. Lure the sharks in with that beacon that they stubbornly refuse to learn is a bad idea to follow, and kill them! But what's this? The drone is stuck in the netting! Thus Shaw dives in himself to take care of this problem head-on. With those handy-dandy explosive tips from earlier, taking care of not only 2 sharks, but any concerns about funeral arrangements. But the third shark did still escape from the boat.
There you go, bitch.
Much like Lucas did. I mean, yeah, we did see it explode and he was caught in there and the boat sank into shark-infested waters, but I mean, technically then he went out of frame, so maybe he teleported away right before they killed him? No, we don't know. Well, he might be able to defeat explosions, drowning, and gigantic oceanic predators, but these women kick his ass and stab him to death, killing him! For real this time, which means it's down to Emma and the shark. Oh, and Nandi, I guess. The fight is between Emma and the shark. Remember that handy-dandy trash compactor that the island had to help to deal with the trash that I guess the trash company probably just dumps in the ocean anyway. The point is, the big damn machine that Emma can lure the bull shark into and then crush it to death, exploding bull blood everywhere. Therefore, happy ending! The island is destroyed, the nursery got pretty fucked up in the process, and climate change is still gonna destroy the world as we know it. But hey, Emma and Nandi survived. And Mia to boot. Classic Deep Blue Sea ending. Oh, it's still kind of tense. I mean, honestly, it was a 50-50 shot that was going to be Lucas again. Anyway, that was Deep Blue Sea 3. God, that was stupid. Which is obviously what it was going for. Don't get me wrong. I like when a movie at least tries to be greater than the sum of its parts, but while Deep Blue Sea professed intellectual rhetoric here and there, it has mainly been remembered and loved for being dumb fun. And Deep Blue Sea 2 kind of forgot how to be dumb fun, so it's actually kind of a breath of fresh air and return to form for the series to see it stupid and just trying to be entertaining for the running time. Though the movie is still clearly your standard straight-to-video horror sequel, with very limited sets, a minuscule cast, and a monster that very fortunately doesn't have to show up very often, saving money on the effects budget. About all they could hope to be was fun at that point, so it's a good thing they remembered to at least lean into that. Not to say it's a rip-roaring comedic ride, though. There are more than a few attempts at humor throughout that I really didn't care for. The chemistry between Mia and Spin was alright, but the attempts at comic relief as they riff on the movie as it plays, clunky and predictable, which ain't great when a good comedy, like a good horror, works best with an element of surprise. What was surprising, though, is that the acting actually wasn't half bad. Looking into the pedigree of each actor explains why, though. While I haven't seen many of these faces very often, a good chunk of the actors have done extensive work. Voice acting. Mostly in video games. The point is they have a lot more to offer than you might think at a glance, and that helps prevent the movie from skirting too close to being unintentionally funny. At the end of the day, Deep Blue Sea 3 is a cheap ride for cheap thrills. It's barely connected enough to previous films to give it an excuse to have sharks eating people again, but that's all they wanted to give us. A fun little flick about a handful of people being picked off by mutant sharks, with a lead actress who is at least okay with spending most of the movie in swimwear, coming in at 2 exploding sharks! Out of 5. While this looks lower budget than Deep Blue Sea 2 did, it's still a far more entertaining experience in my book, and that's gotta count for something. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, sharks aren't gonna track you down and eat you, but they are still gigantic oceanic predators, and it's probably a good idea to just try to avoid them a little on your end.
Sorry, chum.
But where could they be? Fuck off, scam likely.